hybrid community college meeting. It's a little strange to be up here with just a few colleagues, but it's wonderful to be here. We're approaching some type of normalcy going forward. All right, let's call to order the meeting. It is 6:11. Apologies for being late. Let's do 3.2, Pledge of Allegiance. Trustee Withrow, would you like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Roll call, please. Sasha, you are in another room?
I am here.
Okay. Hi.
Hello, student trustee Hogan,
Here, yes.
student trustee Cooper, trustee Withrow,
Here.
trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
trustee Handy,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
trustee Bonilla, absent, trustee Delphine Polk,
Here.
trustee Napoli Bellarice.
Present.
You have a quorum.
Thank you. 3.4, affirmation of the statement of cooperation. Let me just read this quickly. The Peralta Board has adopted a statement of cooperation that codifies our commitment to set the bar for excellence in governance in community college leadership and to lead by example for our Peralta colleges. The full statement of cooperation is attached to the agenda, but in summary, we have committed to three things: build trust and seek to understand each other. Number two, to be prepared and follow good governance and ethical protocols. And number three, model the behavior we want others to exhibit. 3.5, report of action taken in closed session. Vice President Delphine Polk, virtually, could you read our closed session action item?
I have not yet received any from the clerk.
It
Sorry,
was
Sasha.
emailed to you. It was emailed to you 5 minutes ago.
Okay.
Let me resend it.
Yes.
Been resent.
Apologies, folks. Still haven't received it. Sasha, can you send it to my personal? I think that might be the holdup.
I sent it to both emails, your Gmail and your Peralta.
Okay, odd.
Let's see. And I received both of them, so I don't know.
I have no idea either.
Hope, would you like me to do the readout?
That would be great, actually, Natasha. Sorry for the delay, folks. Thank you, Natasha.
On a motion by trustee Withrow and a second by trustee Gonzalez, the board voted 7-0 to release employee number 111-04636 due from their probationary position with the district. The roll call vote was trustee Withrow, aye, trustee Jenkins, aye, trustee Handy, aye, trustee Delphine Polk, aye, trustee Gonzalez Ewan, aye, and president Bellarice, aye. And sorry, I made a misstatement. It was 6 yeses and 1 absence. Trustee Bonilla was absent from closed session. Thank you.
Thank you, Natasha. 3.6, approval of the agenda. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Withrow. Can I have a second for that motion? Trustees out there?
Second.
No second.
Thank you,
Okay.
trustee Jenkins. I do believe we are taking out 2 items of 4.2 and 4.3. Am I incorrect?
It's only 4.2.
That's correct.
Okay, apologies. You're absolutely right. Okay, so let us extract 4.2. from tonight's agenda? Okay, roll call.
Student trustee Hogan,
Yes.
student trustee Cooper, trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
trustee Handy,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Yuan,
Yes.
trustee Bonilla, absent. Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Villareese.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Let's move on to 4.1, general obligation bond program update. We have a few
How
people
about
that
the
are.
minutes? The minutes. We have to vote on the minutes.
Yes. Approval of the minutes, 3.7. Can I have a motion, trustee Withrow?
So moved.
Thank you. Can I have a second for that?
Second.
Thank you, trustee Jenkins. Roll call.
Student trustee Hogan,
Yes.
trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
trustee Handy,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Yuan,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Villareese.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. 3.8, approval of the special board meeting minutes.
So moved.
Thank you, trustee Withrow. Second.
Second.
Thank you, trustee Jenkins. No discussion. Roll call.
Student trustee Hogan,
Yes.
student trustee Withrow,
Yes.
trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
trustee Handy,
Yes.
trustee Gonzalez Yuan,
Yes.
trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
trustee Napoli Villareese.
Yes,
Motion passes.
thank you. Let's move on to 3.10, Peralta Classified Senate Report. Oh,
3.9,
9,
President, sorry.
Associated Student Government Reports. Oh my. Do we have any students in the room, in the virtual room?
We do. We have Mazin Saeed. You can speak when you're ready. He's a panelist.
Hi, you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Hi, Mazin.
Hi, I'm just covering for Harry. He's the current ASBCC president, but he's unable to make it today. And I'm the ASBCC vice president of public relations, so I'm covering him for right now. And then some notes we have are ASBCC elections ended on April 13th. We had 271 students who voted. And I'm also happy to announce I am the incoming president for next year. And then as well, the AC Transit Easy Pass has passed. And then we also have Sarah Latino, who's Berkeley's PCC student. She is one of the student trustees. And then the API is also having multiple events this month. May 5th, there is an arts and crafts. May 11th, there will be a Zoom panel with API folks. And May 26th, we will be having a food festival at BCC. And that concludes my report.
Great, thank you, Mazin. Congratulations and fantastic on the AC Transit Easy Pass. Our next student, do we have any other students in the?
We have Natalie Rodriguez reporting on behalf of COA. I've just promoted her. Are you in with us? Natalie?
Yes, hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Natalie Rodriguez. I'm the Director of Student Activities and Campus Life at College of Alameda. In our senator's absence, I will be providing tonight's ASCOA report on their behalf. It has been a moment since we were able to provide a report, and so we have some backup news to share. Senator Macarena Valenzuela and I attended the SSCCC General Assembly during the week of April 1st through April 3rd. COA was well represented during the conference. Senator Valenzuela ran for the position of SSCCC Vice President, and COA student Clamas Chervillon secured the position of SSCCC President for the upcoming academic year. Senator Valenzuela had the opportunity to connect with representatives from our sister colleges, as well as representatives from colleges throughout the state. Our elections concluded on April 13th. Senator Valenzuela has been reelected for the upcoming term and COA students voted 49-14 in favor of the AC Transit Easy Pass. In terms of student engagement, we have hosted Wellness Day in collaboration with the health department on campus. We held the first ever Swana Heritage event on Tuesday, April 19th. Today was the first of 3 AAPI Heritage Month events. And tomorrow we will be hosting the first ever Ramadan event at College of Alameda from 12 to 1 p.m. Everyone is welcome. Apologies. On Friday, May 13th from 2 to 2:30 p.m. we will also be hosting the Crazy Funny Asian Show as a part of our AAPI Heritage celebrations. This concludes my report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Natalie. And lots going on at COA. Wonderful to hear. Our next student, Nikki.
I don't believe we have any additional students. So I think we're okay.
Okay, thanks, Misha. Let's go to 3.10, Peralta Classified Senate Report.
Yes. Can everyone hear me?
We can. Hi, Terrence.
Good afternoon, President Reese, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Jackson, presidents, and guests. Tonight we have 3 Classified Senate campus reports. The first report comes from the Berkeley City College Classified Senate. The Berkeley City College Classified Senate's next meeting is Wednesday, April 27th at 2:30 p.m. Their classified leadership team is working on developing a professional development retreat for summer 2022. The second report comes from the Merritt College Classified Senate. Merritt College is hosting a Classified Appreciation Day barbecue, April 27th from 12 to 2. Thank you in advance to the Office of the President, President David Johnson, and the administration for being thoughtful and taking the time to acknowledge all classifieds. The third and final report comes from the Laney College Classified Senate. Congratulations to the short-staffed Admissions and Records Department, Tina Tobar, Sho Angel Yuang, and Margarita Panilla, for a job well done on completing the petitions to graduate for Laney students. The Laney Classified Senate will be holding a retreat in June to discuss goals and planning for the coming year. The Classified Leadership Institute has extended registration for the Leadership Conference until May 13th. The conference takes place June 6th through the 10th in Riverside, California. The Classified Senate will appoint 2 new members to the Senate at this week's meeting, Thursday, April 28th at 3 p.m. Katrina Santos as publicist and Lorena Baldazzo as senator. Lastly, if you're unaware, tomorrow is Administrative Professionals Day. We challenge everyone to take time and celebrate classified professionals in each of your areas. Be patient with us as we adjust to this new normalcy in our work areas and our families. That is the end of the campus reports, and thank you very much for your support of the Peralta Classified Senate.
Thank you, Terrence. Let's move on to 3.11, District Academic Senate Report.
Good evening, President Reese, members of the Board of Trustees, Chancellor Jackson, presidents, and guests. Want to thank everybody for last week's board meeting on enrollment. It was wonderful to see so many people and different viewpoints and so on. I thought it was engaging. I hope we could have more of those because I think that would be really informative about how people perceive their reality from all sides, I think. In terms of what's going on is that we're coming down close to the end of our semester. Graduation is upon us. As we look at all of these successful students finishing up their degrees and those who are transferring or those who are getting their certificates. I really want to congratulate everybody. I'm looking forward to the summer and fall when we can actually award degrees or certificates automatically to our students. That's been long in coming, but I think the special part about May coming up is exactly that, our graduation. I know there's folks are doing hybrid types of graduations. In addition, this summer, a number of faculty and others will be attending the Curriculum Institute. There's a lot of stuff going on right now with regard to curriculum, namely the numbering throughout the system. They're trying to line those all up for curriculum, and it'll be a long time coming, but I think it will be something that will be beneficial to all of us. Finally, again, we are looking forward to this summer and fall, and hope that our numbers of students coming to Peralta is going to be good. We will see how many are face-to-face and how many are online, but the fact that they are signing up would be very encouraging. So I hope that all the information goes out on it. So look forward to the rest of this week in terms of Black Student Week. And thank you everybody for posting information regarding this focus on African American students. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Thank you, Donald. Looking forward to seeing you in person. Let's move on to 3.12, public communication.
Okay, anyone who is registered as an attendee, please raise your hand if you would like to provide public comment today. I'm going to move over Jennifer Shinosky and Shing Tao. Okay, Jennifer, are you here with us? Hello, Jennifer, are you there? Like she's there. Do you hear me, Jennifer? Okay, let's go with Sheng Tao. We can go first. Sheng, are you there? Okay, I'm going to send over Jeff Senseri now. We'll come back to Jennifer and Sheng. Jeff, are you here with us?
My goodness, I hope so. Am I?
Okay, yes, you are. We hear you.
Wonderful. I'm going to read a statement from a student, Emilia Lopez, a member of our Latinx community here at Peralta, who's frankly a community that's still quite underserved. Here's the statement itself. He can't make the statement himself because he had to work. So here it is. Hi, my name is Emilia Lopez, and I'm a student at Laney College in Media Communications and Broadcast. I want to ask the board to stop cutting classes and listen to students and faculty. Since I started Laney in 2018, I've seen a significant decline in the number of classes offered. My educational goal is to branch out and turn media work into my profession, but it's tough if I can't take more classes. I'm currently working full-time with several jobs as a freelancer around the Bay Area, from Vallejo to San Jose. I'm not in a financial place to be able to transfer to a four-year school, but I want to continue my education. All these cuts put us in a position where we're stuck and don't have opportunities to advance. The community college is supposed to be there for low-income and underrepresented students, but when you don't give us opportunities, you're further marginalizing us. I also want to share what it's like when classes are canceled. Several semesters ago, the class I wanted was only offered in the evening when I usually work. So I had to go to my job and reconfigure my schedule to get the time off. But when the class got canceled, I was in the position where I wasn't able to work, and then I wasn't taking classes. So it was just a waste of time, and it was really discouraging. One of the things that kept me going was my connections to my instructors. If I didn't have those relationships, I probably wouldn't have kept going with my education. Cuts and cancellations are really marginalizing experiences from an institution that is supposed to welcome low-income people and be accessible to all. I feel like if nobody higher up cares about us, then why should I care about school? We know the district has the money to avoid cuts and offer more to students, and I'm calling on you to stop the cuts, offer more classes, and listen to students. And that's the end of his comment.
Thank you, Jeff.
Thank you, Jeff. And we're going to try Sheng Tao again.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me, Maisha? Awesome.
Yeah.
Good evening, Peralta College Board of Directors. My name is Sheng Tao, and I am the Council President Pro Tem on the Oakland City Council. And I'm calling in today to speak on the importance of maintaining and, if anything, expansion of classes within the Peralta Colleges. As an alumni of Merritt College, where I earned my AA degree in paralegal studies, I can attest that access to higher education saved mine and my son's lives. We were homeless, escaping a domestic violence relationship. We were on welfare to work programming. And when things are really already difficult in life and you're just trying to get by and survive, completing my education was the light at the end of the tunnel. Community colleges, as we know, hold a special place in my heart. It's a place where real lived life experiences of hardships, resiliency, and grit meets classroom. So building a foundation for the possibility for great things to happen inside and outside these classrooms. There was a time when I didn't believe in myself. And it was the staff and instructors within the Peralta colleges that helped guide me, encouraged me to apply to UC Berkeley. I was valedictorian in my graduating class at Merritt College, but really none of that could have been without the guidance of the instructors and work study programming that I accessed while being a student. So cutting and canceling classes is not the answer. Having worked with the Maximum Achievement Project, I know that one of the most important variables of investing in community is access to higher education, and being in the classroom means being off the streets. So having access to classes is key to success. And as a single parent, it was already difficult to find babysitters or plan around my work schedule or figuring out just how to get transportation to and from school. That if I found out that my classes were canceled or there was uncertainty, this could mean that there was possibility of dropping out. And for many students that attend Peralta colleges and community colleges, we are already the students who are on the margins. Institutions like our community colleges should always have the lens of students first, including to incorporate their concerns and voices. I thank you so much for listening to my public comment this evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheng.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to go with Jennifer Shanowski. Is it working yet? Okay.
I think so. Thank you so much, Mike. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, ma'am.
The problems with these hybrid meetings are the continued struggle with technology. Good evening. I want to start actually by wishing our very own Donald Moore a very happy birthday. He just celebrated a milestone, and so happy birthday, Donald. I won't bother singing to you tonight. I'll spare you. And then I'd like to go ahead and thank the Chancellor and board leadership once again for allowing me to present at last week's Enrollment Academy. For those who missed it, I'd like to point you towards the YouTube recording that's available. I was really disappointed that there was very little engagement in the actual substance of my presentation, and that this board continues to refuse to allow me to give the presentation at a regular board meeting as prescribed by law. Instead, we did the very Peralta thing of just moving on and having a different, more positive conversation. The conclusion of my presentation last week highlighted our fundamental goals as a community college: to provide a high quality education to our students so that they can move forward in their education, careers, and lives. I posed the question, how do these class cuts support those goals? I ask it again, and I most sincerely hope that the district will engage in a serious and robust discussion around the answer. Tonight, you'll hear from a small group of students. You've already heard from a couple. Their voices are Peralta's voices. They are our mission. And if you won't hear or listen to us, the faculty that constitute Peralta, we sincerely hope that you'll hear and listen to them. Some students who wanted to be here were unable to phone in due to family work or classroom obligations. Their statements will be read by their instructors, as was just done by Professor Jeff Sinceri. And I'd like to give a special shout out to our incoming mayor, once she's elected shortly in November, as one of our great alumni and somebody that we need to really listen to and support, as she used to be our future. She is our future now. And many of our students represent the very same things that she represents for us. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you, Jen.
Thank you. Oh, sorry. We now have Karen Panich. Are you with us?
Hi, yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
great. You can go ahead.
So I'm reading one of my tutors, something that one of my tutors that I have in my ESL class wrote. She's has to work today, so she asked me to read it on her behalf. Hello, my name is Vivian Romero, and I've been a student at Laney since 1995. I used to take classes on the weekends and in the summer when I was working full-time. Since I retired from full-time work, I've become a fine art major, and I've taken art classes at all the Peralta colleges. However, I've noticed very few classes are available. There will be no art classes at Laney this summer and few choices in the fall. Several instructors that I like to work with aren't teaching, and I'm frustrated by the cuts in classes. Although I live close to Laney, I've had to take classes and travel to other Peralta colleges to get the class content that I want. I also have wanted to learn to speak Spanish, but don't see any conversational language classes being offered. I also use the fitness center and take fitness classes at Laney, and the dean is vague and ambivalent about what will be offered for fitness this summer and beyond. I'm unhappy and frustrated by the cuts in classes and the unclear communication from administrators about them, especially given that these cuts are unnecessary because there's no budget issue. The legislature wanted to make sure that community colleges did not suffer financially due to the decline in enrollment during the pandemic, so they actually kept funding at pre-pandemic levels and have allotted additional funds for colleges to re-engage and recruit students coming out of lockdown. I would like to urge the council to stop cutting classes and bring in a variety of courses and high-quality instruction. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen. We're going to go now to Janelle Tilletson.
Hello, thank you for this time. Hello, Board of Trustees and Peralta community. My name is Janelle Tilletson. I am a counselor at Laney College and the chair of the PFT Diversity Committee. And I'm grateful to read a statement on behalf of the Laney College student, Ari Arroyo, who is hoping to complete both a Certificate of Achievement and an Associate of Arts in Media Communication at Laney College, with a focus on video production for video, broadcast, and digital cinematography. Hello, I am Ari Arroyo, and this is my second year at Laney Community College, pursuing my associate's degree. Unfortunately, I entered college right before the pandemic hit in January 2020. And while I've had such amazing supportive professors, becoming comfortable in the virtual world of classes, there have been several classes that have been canceled or dropped over the course of 2 years. While I understand that these classes have been cut due to budgeting, the pandemic and low enrollment, it has been challenging to get into those classes that I desire to take, and that were my requirements to get a certification. Even classes that weren't related to my pathway were canceled, such as music, acting and directing, and Mexican American studies. This has greatly impacted me and caused demotivation, in which I didn't really want to attend the semester because those subjects that I was interested in weren't being offered, and they held me back from getting closer to my degree. I hope that these courses that previously were canceled are available to future students to get the education and knowledge they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. We now have Jeffrey Freitas Howard. You with us?
Hello, I'm here.
Okay, you can go ahead.
Okay. Hello, my name is Jeffrey Freitas Howard. I am in electrical technology at Laney. I will be graduating with my my certificate in the fall I want to talk about two big issues in my program. Not enough sections being offered and class sizes. It's been difficult in general to get through my program because the limited classes offered and seats available in each section. My first semester, I couldn't get into my one of the code classes and also into one of the core classes. They only give it once a year, so I had to wait an entire year just for that core class. So it took me a whole extra year to do it. And I know a lot of other people who are in the same position, and they ended up going to other places because if you, according to the California Electrical Board, there's about 172 other places who can give out this certificate. And so if it's going to take a whole extra year to get it, I'm sure other people just went to the other places, which are within 5 or 10 miles away. There's about 10 of them. The second issue is the class size for the lab. It's dangerous to work with electricity, and our instructor has 40 people who don't know what they're doing because he's supposed to teach us. And it's difficult to get through the labs because he has to go to each group. And if there's 8 groups and we each have a question, we have to wait before we do anything until all the other 7 groups get their question answered, because we're all in different parts of the course because it's so much to learn all at once. And so we're split up. And so I just think that if we had some type of teacher assistants or more instructors so that we can actually spend time learning the material as opposed to waiting to go forward in the lab. And so I would, in conclusion, I'm here to ask the district to stop cutting classes and consider student input and offer more classes and get the students resources we need to succeed. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey. We're now going to go to Roberto Ramos.
Hello, can you?
Yes.
All right. Thank you for your time. So my name is Roberto Ramos, and I'm here today on behalf of talking as well like Mr. Jeffrey. I'm in the electrical program at Laney, but I got involved. I signed up for Laney in June 2020 after I was released from prison after doing 12 years, and I started in August my classes, and I started because I wanted to do something better for myself and start a family and do good. But the way classes have been cut has been a little bit difficult, and so this semester, well, actually last semester in November, I was talking to Miss Farouk, and she's the head of our professor, head of the department, and she was telling us how, as well, coming into this year, it was going to be difficult to get the classes that we needed to graduate because of the lack of teachers, and that she had already been telling the administration that she needed teachers to be hired for the department since before the pandemic, and nothing has happened. And just recently, about 2 months ago, we had a meeting with the administration, and we asked questions and they answered them, but to me it sounded like the bare minimum was getting done, because I told them, I went above and beyond because I actually had to quit my job, and as soon as I found out that she was leaving this year after this the summer, I go to San Mateo College and add 2 more classes to my schedule because I didn't know the uncertainty of what was going on with the program, and I wanted to make sure that while she was still here, that I was going to get my associate's degree and my electrician certificate through Laney. So now I don't have a job. Also, I was supposed to get off discharge parole early on my 2-year mark, which was April 4th, and I couldn't do that. And I did not know that me not having a job was going to have an effect, at least the adverse effect that I had on my parole officer supervisor. So she told she submitted my my early discharge to them, they told her that because I didn't have a job, I wasn't financially stable, and I wasn't there to defend myself, of course, on why I didn't have it. But you know, for a regular person, it might take them an hour to do an assignment on the computer, but for me, it might take me 3 hours because I'm a little computer illiterate because
Sorry, you have 10 seconds left. Sorry about that.
But you know, the program needs help, and the cuts, it's not right. And I'm asking the board to do more.
Thank you, Roberto. Let's go to Sasha Laitman.
Lightman, yes.
Laitman. Okay, thank you. You can go ahead now.
Hi, I'm taking a video editing class at Laney College, and I am really grateful that just in one semester at Laney, I've been able to make a major career shift with the class I took there. A recent study reported that 17% of the American workforce will be forced to switch occupations in the next 8 years, so I know that I'm not alone in needing an institution like Peralta Colleges. It's been really amazing so far to see how the community colleges accommodate an incredibly diverse variety of student needs compared to other private institutions I've attended in the past. For this reason, the planned cuts to hundreds of class sections next semester are completely unconscionable. Working people like me, who comprise 45% of the student body, plan our entire schedules around expecting to take certain classes that we're signed up for. And when those are cut last minute, it's not easy to find similar classes that meet our needs. And a lot of us have to put our plans on hold or give up completely. What boggles me the most is that these cuts are completely unnecessary because the funding is there. The state specifically kept funding at a steady level so that the community colleges wouldn't have to make cuts. So making these cuts is a complete misuse of funds. These cuts hurt working people, people of color, women, and people with special needs who are currently at Peralta Colleges or planning to go there. I call on the board to stop cutting and canceling classes, stop the planned layoffs, and listen to students and faculty input before making these important decisions that impact us the most. The whole point of Peralta Colleges is that it's not an exclusive private institution trying to maximize profit, and it should stop acting like one. Thank you.
Thank you, Sasha. We're going to go to Michelle Gallagher.
Hello, good evening. Yeah.
Okay, you can go now.
I'm Michelle Gallaga, and I'm in my second year in Berkeley City College. I just wanted to share what community college has done for me because it gave me access to classes I needed to obtain a degree and to move on to a new profession in the hopes of improving my life. And when I came to America 12 years ago, I was a mother of 2 young children with no college degree, no connections, no family, and the only work that would hire me were minimum wage jobs. I soon realized that my only chance of getting out of the federal poverty line and building a network was going back to college. So after 25 years, I enrolled in Berkeley City College in the spring of 2020. I received so much support and encouragement from all my instructors and counselors, and as well as my classmates, some of whom were also mothers like me. So I wasn't intimidated or afraid because I wasn't in a college full of young high school graduates. I'm enrolled full-time while working 50 hours a week, and I'm a straight A student. And I couldn't have done it without the help of the excellent teachers of the Peralta Colleges. I want to ask Peralta administration to stop cutting classes. Like I wanted to take sociology of gender as a specific interest in my field as I'm transferring to a 4-year university next fall, but the class is no longer offered. And so I had to choose a different course, even though that wasn't my interest. I ask that you please restore the classes you've cut and listen to students and faculty when making decisions about what classes to offer. For me, community college is a door, and for some of us, it's the only door that opens new possibilities for people like me who do not have the means or the privilege that others have. Community college is vital in ensuring equality and providing access to education to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you, Michelle. We're now going to go to Chris Weidenbach. You can go when you're ready, Chris.
Thank you, and good evening, everybody. I'm Chris Weidenbach. I've taught English at Laney for 21 years. I've also been serving for the last 2 years pretty rigorously. You could ask anyone on the committee on the Strategic Enrollment Management Committee. I care about public dollars being used well too. So like when I'm in there, I'm thinking about efficiency where it makes sense. I've chaired or co-chaired the English department for 8 years, and I'm looking to get back into that role now. But I understand efficiency. I understand not running classes with single digits of students and low teens even. But I wanted to mention last Thursday's special board meeting was very interesting. A key question that came up that has never been adequately answered by anyone is how many students does it take for a class to pay for itself? We heard several different opinions on that. I've heard many different opinions on it over the years. I encourage those close to these decisions to really take that question seriously and realistically. I also encourage the chancellor, vice chancellors, especially, to think about the fact that we are going to have a large number of students coming back in the summer and especially in the fall. We're going to have a large number of students just starting their college careers finally because they've been sitting it out. And we've done a very poor job district-wide at reaching out to people who need these ladders of opportunity. I celebrated the collaboration to the extent that it was collaboration last Thursday. Where it fell short was in the webinar platform that greatly limited participation, the disregard for several good questions that were asked in the chat, and the disregard for several raised hands whose concerns were never acknowledged. We have very few opportunities for real engagement with district-wide decision makers. So when we have these opportunities, we need to do it for real, and we need to expand those opportunities so that we have actual dialogue, especially when our Senate leaders seem to be getting consistently ignored. Thank you all.
Thank you, Chris. We're now going to go to Charlotte Tong. You can go when you're ready.
Hi, my name is Charlotte. I'm the art major student here, and I'm looking to transfer and get an MFA. But I'm, seeing a lack of, art courses, offered in this campus. This is not my first time, being with community college. Last time when I studied in another community college, they offer a lot of courses, and then we can easily, transfer to the university. But I see here, a lot of courses is not offering, and also I see that, professors also leave, the campus. I don't know why. But it seems like they are not, like maybe treated, well, and that's why, and they are all part-timer, so now we have very few classes left. So, and I have to go to other, campuses to try to squeeze in, to take the classes, but it's very inconvenient for me because I don't stay, around the area. So I'm actually looking at, DVC, and hopefully maybe, go there and then take more. I look at their schedule, and they can offer like 50 over classes, like courses there. But here they cut a lot. So that make, like Peralta is less attractive, choice for students. So I don't think the district really, care about the quality or about us getting our classes. So, and I see that the district has the resources. So it doesn't, I just hope that they can fund, the professor and then also the facilities so that we students and teacher, won't suffer for that. So I want to ask the district to get more, students input on the classes we need and to stop cutting the classes. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. We're now going to go to Angelica Garcia Zepeda.
Hello, my name's
go
Angelica. Oh, thank you.
No, go ahead.
My name's Angelica, and I'm attending Laney College, and I'm going to be getting my certificate in electrical technology. And I'm here to talk about class cuts and how they're affecting students. When I first started, I wasn't aware that certain classes are only offered certain semesters. So that set me back a year and I had to delay my plan for graduating. I'm studying electrical technology, and the demand for people with my skills is about to raise. I don't understand why the Peralta Community College District is cutting these classes when the skills are in so much need. There's a big problem with the classes that are only offered once per year in my program because they're only offered once a year. Because they are only offered once a year, it's very stressful and difficult to get into them. The professors can only take a maximum of students, so there's a lot of people that can get in and are waitlisted and have to wait another year to be able to get into the class. Another big issue is that there are only 3 professors teaching all the classes in my major. I feel that they're a bit overwhelmed teaching 40 to 45 students at a time. One of the main reasons one of the professors is leaving, the professor that is leaving has been teaching about 8 classes every semester, so it's very stressful for her. And the students are really, stressing out because they don't know if the classes that she was teaching will be offered this coming semester, and they don't know they'll be able to complete the program or if they will be able to transfer the classes already taken to another college. We have already raised these concerns to the administrators at Laney. However, they didn't really assure us of much. They just said that they're doing their best. However, they did mention that they haven't posted the job opening for teachers to start applying. So it's really stressful and concerning of whether or not this program will be able to continue. The reason why I decided to attend community college is because I knew it was going to be affordable for me. And I'm sure that's why a lot of people are going into Laney because they end this program because they know it's something they're able to afford, and it will be a huge impact for them if they're to get their certificate here. So it'd be very unfortunate if this program is not able to continue and not able to give the opportunities to other people in this community. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Angelica. We're now going to go to MV Watson.
Hi, my name's MV. There are a couple of students that wanted to make it here tonight and couldn't for a couple of last minute issues. I'm going to read their statements. They are Robbie Brown and Same Ismaili. So I want to make sure that I have all of their time so I can get through everything that I'm going to say. It shouldn't take a whole 6 minutes, but this is what Robbie Brown writes. Hi, my name is Robbie. I'm a culinary student at Laney College. I went to college back in '97, but haven't been in school since, though I thought about it many times. Once the pandemic hit, I decided to go back to school. I've been lucky enough to get all the culinary credits I need, but many people around me haven't, and that's why I'm here and they're not. A couple of my peers who began school with me had trouble getting classes or had them canceled, and they got discouraged and haven't gone back. Robbie wanted to really make the point that that is a really big issue in his community, people getting discouraged with enrollment and cancellations and dropping out. The majority of people in my community who've had this trouble have been discouraged and then not gone back to school. He wanted to talk about being excited to go back to school and how when things fall through, it's very difficult to get motivated again. When students get their classes, we're scheduling everything around our classes, trying to arrange our work schedules, childcare, etc. And when you cancel the classes, it really messes us up. It makes us look bad at work. It makes us look bad with people who have rearranged their schedules for us. I still need GE classes, so I'm asking you not to cancel or cut any more classes. I'm really motivated. Robbie wanted to end with "Don't kill my joy." And then I want to read a statement from Same Ismaili. Hello, my name is Same and I'm a biology major. I'm here to talk about the class shortage. I first want to put out there that I'm not here to point fingers, but rather help you help me. Recently, I was signing up for summer and fall classes when I noticed only 2 biology 1B courses for fall. I was very shocked, so I emailed the Dean of Math, Science, and Career Education, explaining my concern and really just wanting to understand why. I was told that some classes got canceled and that, quote, they would hate to lose me to another district, end quote. And Sami was really taken aback by this because she felt that he didn't really care about her. Then I found out that, quote, in fall, we usually offer more of the intro, and in spring, we offer the continuation classes. My major is not going to wait for the spring. My Bio 1B class is not going to wait for me in spring. I graduate spring of 2023, and I don't have the time or the resources to wait for spring. May I add, we are in a historic labor shortage in healthcare, and that's the field I'm trying to enter. It is the mission of community colleges to provide workforce training and address this major public health issue. I have done my job and picked a major that matters to me, that will help the world. I have put in the time in making sure I get the classes I need on time. I've also done my job of communicating with you my concerns, as I'm sure so have others. Please acknowledge our concerns. Students have so much to worry about. We should not have to worry about getting the classes we need. We should not have to worry about having our classes cut or canceled. As I said, I have done my job. We as students are doing our jobs, choosing a career, pursuing an education, balancing class and work schedules. I'm calling on you to do your job, which is serving us. Please stop the cuts, restore classes, and listen to students and faculty. And Sami couldn't be here today because her work schedule ran late. Thank you.
Thank you, MV. We're now going to go to Courtney Morris. You can go when you're ready.
Hi, my name is Courtney Morris, and I'm a student at BCC, although I've taken classes across PCCD. I'm completing my AA in Global Studies this spring. I'm thrilled to be transferring to UC Berkeley in the fall, and I implore you not to cut classes. Having previously dropped out of community college at 21 years old, I decided to give it another shot at 33 years old and restarted my academic journey in the most famous spring semester of 2020. My excitement for school was overtaken by my devastation of the pandemic. In fact, I withdrew from school in the fall of 2020 to focus on my mental health and financial security. In 2021, I took 3 summer classes and in fall semester, 19 units while working to ensure a timely graduation. Classes like Introduction to Global Studies required for my major are only offered in the fall. I'm grateful that I remained focused during this difficult time, and I'm so grateful to my professors. Other students weren't so lucky. The UC system reported that transfer applications were down 12% this year. 12%, that's thousands of students who are community college students who did not apply to transfer, whether for financial insecurity, family commitments, or because their programs were cut. By cutting classes, you may contribute to an even greater number next year. Is that your goal? Students have lost their jobs, family members, and more during the pandemic. Why then would you cut more classes and devastate an already devastated, disenfranchised demographic? Class offerings are already bleak in so many areas. I wanted to sign up for a women's studies class this spring, and when I searched for women's studies classes across PCCD, there was just one, feminist philosophy. Apparently, our collective liberation is coming at the pace of 1 class per semester. Class cuts would further work against our liberation. The California.gov reports that the majority of PCC students are women. Fall 2019 enrollment numbers indicate that nearly 60% of PCC students are women. More than 84% are non-white, and almost half, 45.5%, are students like me, 25 plus years, who are non-traditional students. You have more money to offer more resources, not less. PCCD has made commitments to racial and gender equity, and I ask you to put your money where your mouth is and not deeper into the pockets of only more district administrators. Thank you.
Thank you, Courtney. We're going to go to Jonathan Medina. You can go when you're ready.
Yeah, hi. I'm Jonathan Medina, and I'm at Laney College for the electrical program. A little bit about me. I just graduated from Richmond High, class of 2020, the pandemic class. My junior and senior year, I was in a One Goal program for first generation students and young teenagers going down the wrong path and barely making it in high school. I joined that program because I have one vision. I have one vision to create generational wealth for me and my family. My sister is a single mom, and I feel like my nieces and nephews really look up to me. And you never know, one day, their first job might just be from their uncle, becoming a general contractor. So that's a little bit about me. But some issues that Laney faces is the lack of classes offered to the students all year long. They're not fully staffed. And for example, I'm in a commercial wiring class just by luck, honestly, and by the help of my teacher, Mark. He's really in touch with me through phone calls, emails, like via Zoom. He's like probably the best teacher I had at Laney. Um, he made sure I got into like everything I needed, all the information I needed. And I feel like the students are really outnumbered by the teachers. Like out of like mentioned before, I forgot his name, I think it's Robert, but out of like 30 students, there's only like one teacher, and electrical is pretty dangerous. So I feel like if you have a lot of young people like me in class or whatever the case is, there's slip ups and there's mistakes. And I feel like that's really dangerous for the line of field I want to get into. But yeah, once again, I give a huge shout out to my teacher, Mark, because he exposed me to a wide trade of like solar panels, batteries, EV chargers, creating generational wealth, basic information, all through emails, text messages, and stuff like that. And I see this all in person. I work for Subaru, so they're creating a lot of plug-in cars that run on straight electrical. So I see a lot of electricians come to my job site and install these EV chargers. Lastly, one suggestion I do have for Laney is to have more English classes involved. I was in EOD class like all of my elementary school and middle school. I did try to always further my English since it's not my first language. I feel like that would really help students because when I'm in lab, I feel like there's a handful of students or even more where English is really a huge barrier. And I find myself stepping up because I've been in that situation and kind of like translating, Google translating, using hand signals, like really taking notes, like drawing pictures. We really try to help each other out because we're all trying to make it, Lastly, I feel like we really need more teachers on campus or even teacher assistants like John. John is a really good teacher assistant in the electrical program. Another shout out to him.
All right, 10 more seconds.
Yeah, I'm just wrapping up. But thank you for listening. Once again, thank you for your mark. And then thank you to Mary Watson for just helping me out throughout the entire presentation. And
Thank you, Jonathan. Okay, now we're going to go to Sarah Latino.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sarah Latino.
Echo there.
I'm a student ambassador at Berkeley City College. As a student ambassador, I'm one of the main points of contact for the students who are looking for help with taking the next step in their education, such as sending in their application and enrolling in classes. And since I work so closely with students, I also see firsthand the struggles students have to go through when the classes they need are cut, whether it's by contacting us through the BCC live chat or coming in person on the BCC campus. It seems that when they're trying to take one step forward, obstacles such as class cuts keep them from taking 2 steps forward and keep them from continuing with their education. And these cuts derailed their educational journey here at BCC and at other Peralta colleges, which then have long-term effects on their collegiate success. And if a class they need is no longer available, then a student may need to wait longer to graduate and transfer to a 4-year college, and they may actually choose to go to another community college outside of the Peralta school system to join a class that is required for their certificate or associate's degree. I truly hope the Peralta board takes in everything that students are saying at this meeting, and I hope you all recognize that the effects of class cuts are greater than students simply having to wait until next semester. It affects their life inside and outside the classroom. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. And I have Marlene Rodriguez as our last speaker. I moved her over. I don't see her. So she may have dropped off. Marlene Rodriguez, are you there?
I joined through my friend's computer. It's Noel. I'm here.
Okay, great. Okay, you can go now.
Hello, everyone. My name is Noel Ervicu, and I've been a student at Berkeley City College since fall of 2019. I also currently work as a student ambassador of Berkeley City College, and my job helps me interact with students from a wide variety of backgrounds from all 4 Peralta colleges. Working with students from a variety of backgrounds, I've seen the concerns that students have to face, such as their classes being canceled last minute and not being notified until they check their class schedule on their student portal, finding out their class is not there, and in some instances, their only form of notice would be when they enter their room and see no one there. Students come to us believing that they were dropped from their class, from their instructors, or from their administration, which is not the case. We see students scrambling to make an appointment with a counselor to find an alternative class that would fulfill their requirements to achieve their associate's degree, certificates, or transfer. And we do our best to help them find those classes as well. However, sometimes we're unable to find it and have to inform them that the course is nowhere to be found, and we aren't informed as well. They come to us frustrated, and we have to inform them there's nothing we can do, and we're students like them, and we're in the same boat. We go above and beyond our job responsibilities to accommodate their needs and help them find their classes, but we are only students. The community of Berkeley City College is diverse. Students range from working parents to dual enrolled high school students and come from multiple different identities and from different marginalized backgrounds. Berkeley City College's mission is to provide our diverse community with educational opportunities, promote student success, and to transform lives. One way to do this is through offering different classes that would serve the diverse background of students that come from working backgrounds who are working class, low income, and first generation. I would also like to share my personal experience with how the disrupts in class cuts have affected my studies. I was set to transfer for this upcoming fall cycle, but due to a class cut in one sociology class that did not fit with my work schedule, I was forced to delay my studies with 1 whole year. Again, this is not what equity means, and we should strive to be more equitable and accommodate the needs of the diverse community of the Bay Area and the United States abroad. As such, I kindly ask the board to reconsider the needs of students and faculty, and to center our voices and our concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Noel. Oh boy, okay. Let's see, got a few more hands. Christiane Tori, I'm moving you over. And Mary Shaughnessy, moving you over. Okay, Christiane, are you there?
Hi, everybody. My name is Christiane Touré. I'm from West Africa, Côte d'Ivoire, and I just arrived in the United States in December 2021. I have visited before, but I decided to come to stay in the United States. I speak some English, but I'm not fluent. I learned it at school, but it's not my first language. When I started classes at Laney, I noticed my English improving. It's very important to me because if I decide to stay in the United States, I need to speak English. I work in Africa for 18 years for Bank of the West, but I would like a different career. And for that, I need to speak good English. I started in basic English level 1, and I'm ready to go to English level 2, but that doesn't start till October. In order to start my academic classes, I need to take level 2. Without that, I'm stuck and can't continue my education. This is the same situation that 15 of my other classmates are in as well. We are all waiting to start our other classes because I can't get this one English 2 class. It's breaks that can disrupt my performance and everything I've already learned. So waiting till October will be like I'm starting all over again. While education is the key to success, how could we get there if the administration does not support us in this process? How are we going to integrate ourselves effectively into society? This is a real concern to me. That's why I would be grateful if you could reconsider your strategy. That's why I'm here speaking for myself and my other classmates and asking you to offer more English classes, stop cutting classes, and listen to students and faculty. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christiane. Okay, we're going to go to Mary Shaughnessy.
Thank you very much. My name is Mary Shaughnessy. I'm an EOPS counselor at the College of Alameda, and I'm speaking on behalf of my student, Julia Chen, who is a very accomplished, and she's the type of student that just makes your heart soar and reminds you what we're doing here at the community college. And this is her statement. I started college in 2021 and my major was biology. But after the first year, I felt really unsure about that direction and thought about changing. In my second year, I was so unsure that I tried other classes like business, econ, and computer science. One of the reasons that I got derailed from my biology major was that my chemistry classes went online, and that was really hard for me. In both of my classes, I ended up with a B. I just thought that chemistry wasn't for me. Excuse me. But my counselor reassured me that B is not a bad grade. So after a year taking other classes, I returned to my original biology. And she wants to transfer, in fall 2023 because she wants to go to a UC, and the UCs are mostly fall 2023, entirely fall transfer universities. But she had some obstacles due to class cuts that are holding her back. First, I need chemistry 12A and 12B, which is organic chemistry, in order to complete the requirements and to transfer to UC Berkeley. I still need to take chemistry 1B first because it's a prerequisite. I was planning to take it this summer and then take 12A in the fall, 12B in the spring, and then transfer. I will say that as her counselor, I did the research and I looked back to see if Chem 1B was offered in the summer. I went all the way back to 2015, and indeed, every summer in 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20, it was offered in the summertime. But due to class cuts, I won't be able to take chemistry 1B in the summer. My counselor says my only option is to go to another community college or take 12A and 1B in the same semester, which would be very difficult, especially since I have to work. Additionally, I have to take bio 1A and 1B next year, and I'm planning to take it in the fall and spring. If she takes all those classes, it would be just an overload that would be absolutely ill-advised for her goal of wanting to transfer to UC Berkeley. I will say that I have assisted her in trying to look for that class in other districts as well. If I can't take these 2 full series of classes by spring, then I can't transfer. And I waste 1 more year, which would be a total of 4 years spent at the community college. I would like to ask the district to support students better. Please restore class cuts, stop cutting, and listen to students. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Okay, I believe that is all of our public comment for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you, Maisha. Again, to all those that spent the time to put forth their comments, thank you for doing that. It means a lot to us. All right, let's move on to 3.13, Chancellor's report.
President Reese, on behalf of Chancellor Jackson, who's not able to be with here tonight, then I will present. First, I'd like to, on behalf of PCCD, congratulate Sarah Latino, one of our public speakers tonight, for becoming our student trustee elect. So congratulations, Sarah. I'd also like to say Ramadan Mubarak for our Muslim brothers and sisters. And now I'd like to pass it over to our presidents for the college reports. And since I'm looking at all 4 of them, I'm going to go from my left to right and start with Dr. Johnson.
Thank you. President Napoli Reese, Board of Trustees, Deputy Chancellor Droker, Presidents, colleagues, and community. This is the report from Merritt College for this evening. So I want to begin this report by acknowledging the individuals responsible for putting on the Merritt College Career Center and Job Development Fair that happened on April 8th, 2022. We had about 50 students in attendance, and the event featured presentations from several East Bay employers, including the YMCA of the East Bay, Child Care Careers, the Unity Council, Duck's Nest Preschool, Cadango, Oakland Unified School District, and the City of Oakland Head Start. So the students learned about these particular companies, their organizational philosophies, specific programs that were available to them, job requirements, and different employment compensation packages. Our transfer center and child development faculty, I think, gained greater understanding of how we can best prepare our students for a competitive career in the field of child development. So I want to thank specifically our transfer counselor, Ms. Sarah Alterk. She was the one that coordinated the event, so thank you to her. And I also want to thank the CE counselor, Maggie Baez. And finally, one of our part-time embedded counselors in Child Development Resource Center, Marlo BL. And I also want to recognize the faculty chair, Michelle St. Germain, as well as Alice Chan, who is our staff assistant. So that's great job, everyone, for doing that. Next. So the histotechnology program at Merritt College is one of 3 areas in our biosciences department. I did a little research. Specifically for the uninitiated, histology is the branch of biology that studies the microscopic anatomy of biological tissues. Essentially, it's the microscopic counterpart to gross anatomy. So over the last year, the Histo program at Merritt has been preparing for our site visit from the National Accrediting Agency for Clinical Laboratory Sciences. That long-awaited visit happened April 19th and April 20th. When team members met, they met with faculty, staff, administrators, and students to assess our program. After 2 days of review, we are very thrilled to share that the team did not find any citation issues and will be recommending that our program retain its accreditation status. So anytime we have good accreditation news, we want to herald it, right? And while this welcome news is the result of a collective department effort, I do want to formally acknowledge the work of Program Director, Ms. Feather Ives. Simply put, we would not have achieved the positive result without her dedication and leadership. Finally, last Wednesday, 34 students and 10 of our faculty, staff, and administrators traveled to UC Davis for our Transfer Opportunity Program Day, which was designed specifically for Merritt students. Now, the group was treated to a presentation by the TOP outreach team and a panel of community college students who are now undergraduates at Davis. The panel also included Ms. Stephanie Mutialu, who you may remember, she's a recent Merritt College graduate and the former leader of our Phi Theta Kappa chapter. So our students had a great time to ask questions. They heard about some of the rewards of challenges of transferring to UC Davis. And after the panel, there was a campus tour and lunch at the Campus Memorial Union. We have a quote from one of the students who shared that, quote, I would definitely transfer here because I feel that I fit in at this place, and I noticed that they offer the help that I need. And another student, I was told, arrived late to the scheduled lunch because she was somewhere off starting her UCD application on the same day. Didn't want to be late. So the trip was a collaborative effort between counseling, our Student Equity Committee, Puente, Umoja, SAS, which are Student Accountability Services, Transfer Center, and Career Services. And I believe, Maya, if you were.
Yes, I will. You ready for me to?
I'm ready.
Now?
We have like a minute long little presentation of how their day went.
Okay, everyone, please give me a thumbs up if you hear correctly. Let's see here.
These are the images of UC Transfer Day.
Writing's not that easy, but Grammarly can help. This sentence is grammatically correct, but it's wordy and hard to read.
Grammarly owes me some money. Okay, go ahead.
1 second. I'm sorry about that. It clicked the ad for some reason. Let me go back here. We're gonna go.
The first floor is really.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And before I go, I wanted to give a special shout out to our Dean of Counseling and Equity, Dr. Lisa Webb. She was really integral in planning that. And this concludes the report from Merritt College.
Good evening. As my report this evening got a little bit longer with the students' public comment this evening, I'll dispense with my usual greeting and just say good evening. First of all, speaking to the several students who did speak during public comment, I would like to just reach out to you for a moment and say that not only for myself, but for the Vice President of Instruction, as well as the deans at the college. We have your names and we certainly want to assist you as you continue in your educational journeys. And we will be reaching out to you either via email or phone to really speak with you and hear about your needs. Both President Garcia and I took pretty diligent notes during public comment, and we will certainly be following up. We understand your needs, and certainly for the student from the Côte d'Ivoire who spoke to us this evening, we will certainly be reaching out. And I certainly understand just from my own experience living and going to school in another country and all of the challenges that are there. And we're here to serve you, and we're here to help you. So I just wanted to open with that. And also just say that as we reach out and as we try to help you, we will listen to you and hear your needs, but we will also provide some clarification where needed. For example, I would like to just mention, and I don't know if this would necessarily meet the student's need who spoke this evening, but this summer we are in fact offering art classes. We are offering a combined drawing class for all skill levels that will have lab hours to address needs. We also have two different art history classes, one modern and one African-American art history. So we really do want to reach out and provide those students the personalized attention that they deserve. And I just wanted to start with that. Also, I have an update for the board as there have been requests for an update on the Laney College pool. And you'll forgive me, I'm going to read off my notes for a minute. The rest of my report will come from the heart, but this will come from the script. The Laney College pool resumed its operations for our students and student athletes earlier in the semester, with the competition pool opening to students on the 4th of April and the training pool on the 11th. There is remaining work on the existing contract with one of our outside contractors, Affinity, that is awaiting arrival of parts that have been on back order since early in the semester. Our district engineers, and whom we applaud, assigned to the pool have been able to maintain the pool systems and chemistry since they reopened, and we are reaching a point of beginning to phase in our outside user groups as advised by Sam Knox, engineer with District General Services, whom we greatly appreciate. We look forward to adding these external user groups to our schedule now, building to a full capacity by the beginning of the summer. Although there is an additional scope of work to complete all remaining repairs, we do not anticipate at this time any further interruption to pool operations. Though I will advise the board one note of caution. Our pool, like many, requires CO2 for daily operations, an item for which there is currently a shortage in the market for swimming pools. We have been fortunate thus far and monitored and really planned. But in the event that does reach a point where we run out, that would lead to us having to close the pool. Having said that, again, we will remain conscious of the supply we have and monitor the situation. These projects have involved dedicated effort from the Laney Facilities and Campus Operations Office, specifically Director Amy Marshall, especially as we work with the Swinnerton Project Manager, District General Services engineers, Vice Chancellor Etheria Smith, as well as third-party suppliers and technicians. I will continue to keep the board updated, including communications outside these proceedings to Chancellor Jackson, so that everyone is apprised when speaking with our external community partners. So going back to my board report for this evening, if you look at the printed report that is always prepared in such great fashion by Lorena Baldazzo, you will see a recap of the April 13th self-care fair that I told you about, as well as further details about the Restoring Our Communities grant that I initially reported as well. At the very end of our report, I think you'll find a great student success story about someone who was in our culinary arts program who has gone on to some pretty great things, and wanted to share that. But one thing that is in the report that I would like to spend a couple minutes on is to thank and recognize all who made last Saturday's CTE open house event a success. It was so great for me to be there and see so many in our community come, as well as our campus community. Just to give you some quick numbers, 103 employees at Laney turned out for the event. And between students and members of the public, we had more than 200 sign in. And it was just great to see so many staff, faculty, and administrators come to support this event as we highlighted our great CTE programs. Again, in my report, there's a recap, but I would like to highlight two things especially. And I think this just shows that we're pushing some pretty good envelopes. Number one, in addition to the employees in our more than 21 different programs, we had more than 10 outside industry partners come to campus to help promote Laney, but also promote the next steps, the careers that are ahead. And what struck me as I was walking around and meeting people was that two of our industry partners, not Laney folks, but outside industry partners, said something to me I've never heard. They said to me, we're interested in your students, but we're also interested in our new employees, if they are your students, continuing in their studies until they finish their certificate. I think that is an incredible sign of collaboration that does not just come from words or piecemeal or things like that, but really a great commitment that starts with our staff and our faculty and continues with our administrators and really the efforts that we make to reach out. So that's the first thing I thought that struck me that I wanted to tell you about. The second thing is this. I will be sharing with the board a video from one of the students who came to the event. And as you listen to this video, you know, having them say that Laney is the best place in Oakland, that was the second best thing that she said. The best thing that she said was that she talked about pathways to completion. So, you know, I think about just at our college, an investment that predates me in guided pathways and the statewide guided pathways project, program mapper, all those things we've done. The incredible work of our counselors, our support staff to really tell the story of our programs. The fact that our students or our prospective students are now using that language as they tell us about their educational futures speaks volumes. And I'm so proud. The outreach continues at Laney College. This coming Saturday, we are so pleased to host the 100 of Black Men of the Bay Area's Career Expo event for high school students. And we're expecting approximately 300 to 350 students to turn out, high school students. This comes thanks to an introduction that began in January with Dr. Lawrence Van Hook, and from which the college welcomed a delegation that included council member Lauren Taylor in February for a campus tour and a lunch to discuss the potential event. I look forward to being there on Saturday to provide the campus welcome, but I am also pleased to share that Laney will have a space to promote its programs at the event. Thanks to Kim Gonzalez, who will be tabling and sharing information, as well as two of our CTE faculty, Professors Matthew Wolpe and Melissa McIlvain, who in addition to providing the welcome will be sitting on panels throughout the day to talk about the construction track at our college. I want to convey special thanks to Mr. Joseph Frank of Wells Fargo and the 100 Black Men, as well as Ms. Juanita Metters-Upshur for honoring Laney by asking us to host this event for them. And again, Amy Marshall, you're lucky. You get mentioned twice tonight. Thanks to her, as well as Dean Alejandria Tomas, who behind the scenes have done a lot of work to get this event ready. And I look forward to providing you with a recap next month of this. In closing, I just would like to say one bit more piece of good news. You know, the fact that enrollments are down is no secret. But one thing that was shared today first by Dean Mildred Lewis and then our researcher Clifton Coleman is that at Laney College, our percentage of spring enrolled students who will be graduating and our percentage of awards has increased by 1%. And the number of awards and the number of students has also increased. Again, I think it's something you look for successes everywhere. And I think this is one that as a college and to a degree as a district, because our students go to more than one campus, we can all share. This concludes my report.
Good evening, President Napolia Bell-Reese, trustees, colleagues, community members. In addition to the written report, I just want to add my congratulations to our ASBCC President-elect, Mazen Saeed, who spoke earlier today on behalf of Harry Mapodile, and to Linda Latino for her election as the student trustee-elect. We're looking forward to having BCC student leadership continue in support of student leadership across the district. And actually, I want to thank Director John Nguyen for working with the students to organize a strong turnout and engagement for the election process. Now, I do want to share that Berkeley City College, and I believe a fellow college in the district as well might share some comments. We were recognized as a 2022 champion for excelling in equitable course placement in Black English enrollment. So essentially, we're being recognized for placing Black students 100% of our Black students into transfer level English within their first year. And right now, part of our data analysis is now following through on the success and completion. How did those students do? Great job for us, for the faculty, for the staff, and the students themselves. But now it's a chance for us to investigate how did they do and how were we a part of that success. As an implementation of AB 705 continues, it really is a testament on the collective effort that it takes. So while BCC faculty in this case and staff are getting recognition, I want it to be clear that the work to implement that was really a district-wide effort. And it really illustrates that collective energy. So we're excited for that. There was an announcement last week. There will be another event later in May, for which, if calendars align, we might have some college representation there. In keeping with the theme of Black student success, yesterday was the launch of the 3rd annual Black Student Success Week. And it really started with some distinguished speakers, Secretary Cardona, our Chancellor, President of the Board of Governors. But most importantly, it ended with students sharing their stories about what it means to be in colleges that recognize and honor and celebrate Black brilliance. Culturally relevant instruction and services, leadership that is about inclusivity and equity. And so we're proud to be a part of that. Tomorrow, our transfer center coordinator, you've heard me share before, is going to be presenting on the panel during the Black Hour tomorrow. And the title tomorrow is The Path to Transfer Success, a Clear Highway or a Traffic Jam. So I hope that you're able to join during your lunch break from 12 to 1 p.m. We're so very proud and honored to have Andrea represent the college. I'd like to invite you this Friday, April 29th. We'll be having a community fireside chat where I will be joined by Senator Nancy Skinner and City of Berkeley Mayor Jesse Arreguin. And it's really an opportunity to connect and talk about the role and the place that Berkeley City College has to the local community. We're thrilled to have engagement with the Downtown Berkeley's Association. We'll have some chamber presence there. UC Berkeley Chancellor's office had the chance to connect with Chancellor Christ and certainly with Ruben Lizardo, who is one of our main champions and advocates at UC Berkeley. But more importantly, it's a conversation about what access to an equitable public education looks like, higher education. And so we're just thrilled to have that conversation. And I'm grateful to Director Lanice Jones of the Peralta Colleges Foundation for helping to launch this event and make it a success, and really to remind our local community that we welcome their time, their talent, and their money, because we do want to continue to support student scholarships for continued education. And in closing, I'm grateful as a community college educator, that I get to work with some really amazing people. And here in Peralta, that certainly has been representative in so many ways. But I want to take a moment to extend my gratitude to the Berkeley City College community, Director Tim Thomas, Chief Roberts, Interim Vice Chancellor Smith, and so many others, Dr. Jackson, Droker, my fellow colleague presidents here. Last week was a very emotional week for the Berkeley City College community. The week started with the tragic death of a Berkeley High student, in which the death took place right out front of our campus building. Some of our student ambassadors were greatly impacted by that, having witnessed what took place. The way to just see our community wrap our arms around Berkeley High was beautiful. Faculty, staff, administrators, people really just started to connect and check in with one another, because we really saw that we consider Berkeley High students our students. It was a tragic loss of a young man, a senior at Berkeley High. In the middle of the week, we had a healing circle. Our counseling faculty member, Janine Greer, hosted a healing circle where, again, we had district colleagues, and even our faculty senate, our academic senate leadership decided to cancel the meeting that was supposed to take place during that time. And they were present during this healing circle. And all I can say is that it was both healing and incredibly painful at the same time to hear the level of pain that people have around death, around suicide, especially. And then later in the week, UC Berkeley activated a shelter in place because they had an active threat on the south end of campus, which activated Berkeley High and Berkeley City College to be on campus lockdown. So from 10 to 2, faculty, administrators, staff, our colleagues at the district were all helping us to successfully secure the campus. And I will say, while students, I think, were incredibly respectful and they were willing to work with us, it was frustrating. They had jobs, they had appointments. And I can tell you that we had people who were on the phone with an employer saying, I'm telling you that he is here and we are not able to allow anyone in or out. He is not reporting for work because he's not wanting to. He's really just not able to. So we had connections to that level. But what I mostly want to stress about it is that we did have a couple of students who were emotionally traumatized by being contained. And Director Thomas, I must say, Director Tim Thomas provided a level of support and de-escalation that was just absolutely remarkable. And the training of the Peralta security team just the week previous had undergone a training for a campus lockdown procedure. So everything worked well. And I just want to thank each and every one of my colleagues. I want to thank the folks on campus, but most importantly, the VPs, the executive team. Each and every one of them held strong to support students, to support faculty, support administrative services. So on behalf of the Berkeley City College community, I'm just grateful to this district. With that, that concludes my report for this evening. Thank you.
Good evening, President Reese, trustees, Deputy Director Stoker, and colleagues and guests. Excuse me. I'm pleased to provide the report for College of Alameda. First, I would like to share that the College of Alameda, as Dr. Garcia has just mentioned, was named Champion for Excellence in Equitable Course Placement in Black English Throughput by the Campaign for College Opportunity, whose mission is to work to ensure that all Californians have an equal opportunity to attend and succeed in college in order to build a vibrant workforce economy and democracy. The awards celebrate colleges that have successfully supported at least 70% of Black students who enroll in a transfer level English course to successfully complete it in the first year of their initial enrollment. And also that they succeed in the course at equivalent or exceeding the rates of those of the entire student body. College of Alameda will be recognized at an inaugural award ceremony on May the 12th. I would like to thank and recognize the great work of our English faculty, as well as the Umoja program staff for their tremendous work. We are very, very proud of our colleagues. As we are currently participating in Black Student Success Week, I'm especially pleased that we are making a difference in fostering success and achievement among our Black and Brown students, as is reflected by this recognition. Additionally, College of Alameda Student Services staff members have resumed providing on-site services and outreach at local high schools and participating in community activities. During the month of March and May, more than 30 outreach and student engagement events have and will be taking place. Some notable events include our annual partner breakfast, which kicks off an exciting recruitment season with over 50 representatives from local high schools and education program attending the event. Celebrations for Ramadan for April the 27th. The Asian Pacific Islander American Heritage Month celebration. Wellness Day celebration, and our Southwestern Asian North American Heritage Month celebration. Further, COA student Teravan was elected president of the Student Senate for California Community Colleges at their annual meeting held earlier in April. Our student senator, Ms. Valenzuela, also was at the event, as was mentioned by our director, Natalie Rodriguez. COA has been actively addressing the needs of our most vulnerable students and community members by providing emergency food grants totaling more than $16,000 and thus far from January through March. Additionally, we're planning on awarding greater awards in April with more than 98 applicants having applied for those grants. The Office of Student Activities and Campus Life Food Pantry continues to serve hundreds of families with children, adults, and seniors suffering from food insecurity. Further, we are able to provide assistance for 44 COA students who have applied for assistance with personal care and baby items. Eligible students receive various personal hygiene items, diapers, formulas. COA is COA Cares, a slogan that we use. It's more than a slogan. It's the inspiration that guides our work in and outside of the classroom. This ends my report for this evening. Thank you.
And there is so much happening at each of your colleges. It's wonderful to actually hear it in person than over the video. Just the level of engagement that all of your students are doing. Again, I support you all in the faculty and the classified staff in really creating that environment where our students are so engaged. Congratulations on the 2022 champions. Congratulations on the NACCLS accreditation site. And I too learned a lot from that program that you defined for us. And also congratulations on the ROC grant for 3 years. So just wonderful stuff. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you. All right, let us move on to our presentation. 4.1 General Obligation Bond Program Update. Do we have IVC Smith, as well as Vincent McCarley and Keith Kajia?
Let me know if you guys want me to share my screen or if you were going to
Yes, please. That'd be helpful. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, Board of Trustees, Chancellor Jackson, Chancellor's Office, Dr. Droker, Peralta Community College community. The Department of General Service, along with Keith Kajia, the Bond Program Manager, David Olson, and Vincent McCarley from the district's bond municipal advisors will provide you tonight with a progress summary of the bond program, consisting of a cost status of the budgets, the expenditures as of April 2022, updates for major capital projects, current program challenges, which all factors in for the discussion to authorize the second Measure G bond sale. So I'd like to go ahead and begin and turn it over to Vincent and David.
Thank you, QC Smith. On this next page, you'll have a summary of some information that some of the trustees would have seen before, but again, we want to refresh everyone's understanding. For the general obligation bonds, oftentimes referred to as GO bonds, are how California community college districts fund modernization and construction projects. And state funding is also frequently available, but it's not sufficient to cover the majority of construction programs. And so therefore, you have general obligation bonds, which are locally supported. And the bonds are secured by future property taxes. Basically, the taxpayers receive on their property tax bills an itemization relative to the bonds that are issued in support of that. And most community college districts and taxpayers within those districts are involved in those transactions. On the next page, page 3. This is an ongoing process relative to general obligation bond funding. And when we get to the next page, you'll see the series of support that the community has provided the district. But again, as mentioned, there are a couple of different components in that. You're looking for the issuance of the bonds to be spent roughly within a 3-year period for tax compliance with the IRS. In addition to, you want to see a healthy spend down of those bond proceeds so you don't have dollars just sitting around. And then finally, you want to sort of match that up so that you do have sufficient funds on hand so that you're not slowing up projects. And as well, you have enough remaining authorization to complete any of the planned projects. Next page, please. So since 1992, the district has had a tremendous level of support within the community for its bond measures. And as you can see, there has been 5 different measures that the voters have approved for the district, with the most recent being in 2018, whereby the voters approved under Measure G, a total of $800 million for projects to be completed by the district. And in 2020, we issued the first series of bonds under Measure G, which was in the amount of $50 million. And so there remains a total amount of $750 million, which has not been issued at this point, but has been authorized by the voters. On the next page, I'm going to turn this to my colleague, Dave Olson, to basically summarize our section and then to pass the balance of the presentation over to Keith from ACOM.
All right, thank you, Vincent. As VC Smith indicated, this is all a setup to the district's next issuance of bonds, and Vincent's given some background on the program and what we're trying to do in terms of bringing the next issue to market, making sure we have the appropriate size, and that we're issuing bonds at the appropriate time. We want to make sure that there's enough funding to continue to fund projects. So what we're looking at is the cash spend down from the Series A bonds that Vincent mentioned. The federal tax law requires that the district reasonably expect to spend the money borrowed within 3 years. So we take a look at the money that's left on hand and the projected expenditures over the next 3 years. We want to be less than that amount. We generally look at things on a first in, first out basis. So you're spending the Series A proceeds before you're spending the Series B proceeds, and that we're spending the monies on projects more generally, program funding, rather than withholding Series A bond proceeds to fund specific projects. So it's just refilling the program so that we can continue to spend money. We treat cash as cash, and that the money is fungible. We also take a look at the historical expenditures so that when we're looking at projections, we're giving it something of a reality check as to how fast the district has spent money in the past. Next slide, please. When we're thinking about timing, we want to make sure that we have more cash in the bank well in advance of when we're running to zero. So we don't want to say September 1st is we'll have $1 left, so we better have an issue done by September 2nd. We want to have a reasonable amount of overlap. So when we look back, and Keith's going to talk about what the money has been spent on. In May 2020, we borrowed $115 million, $65 million from 2006 Measure A, $50 million from 2018 Measure G. At this point, we're down to about $35 million, or we're at $65 million now. We're going to be down to $35 million by the end of the year. And that we plan to move forward with expenditures that are at a higher burn rate than we've had in the past. There are a lot of projects getting ready to go, so we're going to be spending money at over $100 million per year. So as we're moving into the $8 to $10 to $12 million expenditure pattern, the $35 million is not going to last long. So with that, we'll go to Keith to talk about what's been spent and why we're increasing the expenditures for the next round of projects. Keith?
Thanks, Dave. We'll go to the next slide. So here's the $115 million of what was issued, the last tranche of Measure A, the first tranche of Measure G. And you can see there, the top green bar shows the $115 million of bonds sold. We've contracted for $140 million of contract value. The difference there is that there's multi-year contracts, so we never anticipated to spend that in that time of frame. Some of those are 3-year or 4 or 5-year contracts. So that's why that commitment is larger. But you can see that we've expended $65 million as of April. And what we're really looking at is this gap where we've got some projections of how we're going to be spending the balance of that $115 million. So go to the next slide, Alicia. Here's our program cash flow. You can see the actual expenditure burn rate. So we've been on a quarterly basis in that $5 to $11-ish million range. You can see the cumulative line there at $65 million in the third quarter of fiscal year 21-22. But based on our projection, you start to see this exponential ramp up in spending. And this is that increase in construction work that we're anticipating that Dave was referencing. And based on our current projection, we're anticipating that the $115 million that we currently have sold previously will be expended roughly in the fall of 2022, later this calendar year, or the first quarter of the next fiscal year. Next slide. In the past, I've addressed the board and talked about two delivery phases, two waves of projects, as you will. And this was a purposeful plan in the bond spending plan. And it was really to make sure that we had enough money to complete projects and not start projects that we could not finish. So here we've actually designated the split of those two phases. So phase one represents all the active projects, those that are state funded, those things that are currently in design, in active planning, things that are actually going into bidding now. That represents about $587 million of the entire capital bond program, which is that $987 million. The $400 million is phase two. Those are some of the larger projects on the back end of the bond program. We may be starting some early planning work on those, but largely those things have not started. We're waiting to get cost certainty on these phase one projects, frankly, to make sure that we can afford to complete all those projects. One of the slides later in my deck will address kind of hyper escalation and some of the things that we're seeing and that we're concerned about in the construction bidding market. Next slide. This is a slide that kind of breaks down the phase one projects, kind of our progress to date. We're proud of the fact that we're leveraging our local bond dollars by securing $77 million of state matching funds. You see there the $140 million of contract commitments. And we have 15 major projects underway, 56 infrastructure packages. I've addressed those in the past to the board. This graph here actually, though, shows the $587 million of budgets and what phase those projects are in. So you can see what we're looking at is projects starting to move from left to right. So from the left is the planning phase, on the right is the construction phase, and then eventual completion. You can see where we're anticipating this bump in spending is that there are quite a few projects in DSA review. They're imminently about to come out of DSA for approvals. Those that are state funded will be waiting for the Department of Finance to release approvals for those projects. But the good news is that we've had a number of projects that do have DSA approval, and we have received the State Department of Finance release letter to actually bid and award those projects. So you're going to start to see that bid and award number exponentially rise over the next 6 to 8 months. Next slide. Here's a slide that I've shown in the past. Here I'm just indicating, you can see the progression of these projects that are state funding, right? State funded projects also have timelines tied to them. Exciting news is that the Alameda Auto and Diesel Technologies project and the Merritt Child Development Center are fully ready to be bid. They're DSA approved. They're also approved by the Department of Finance to go out and be bid. So these projects are actively being put out to bid right now for construction. Next slide. This is a total program cost report. This represents the entire capital program, which is indicated in that first column under current budget, the $987 million. The expended amount is to the far right, the $65 roughly million. But you can see here that we are actively tracking risks to the program and trending costs. And one of the things that we do is we anticipate through a risk register some of the things that may or may not happen. This is to make sure that, again, we have that cost certainty in the capital program. We've committed $140 million to contracts. This number we're anticipating will exponentially rise as well. Some of these construction contracts are going to be the largest commitments in the capital program as we move forward into that phase in the next 6 months or so. Next slide. We work closely with the district's finance and administration department. This is actually a snapshot from finance's records from the district where we're aligning our numbers with their numbers. This is reflecting the Measure A and Measure G bonds. At the bottom there is the most important number. It's the remaining cash balance as of April, the amount of money that's actually sitting in the bank at the moment. So there's $50 million left of those previous bond sales that we did back in May of 2022, 2021, was it, Dave? So we're getting ready to start to need some more cash infusion as we start to go out into the market for construction contracts. Next slide, Alicia. So one of my responsibilities, right, is to make sure that we never start something that we can't finish and that we're always planning for different scenarios. There's contingencies that are built into every project budget for our active projects. These are the contingencies that are built into each college campus. We kind of bracket these contingency pools into what we call a design contingency for projects that are in design to represent evolution of the design process. Construction contingency to represent any unforeseens or change orders during construction. There's an owner contingency for an allowance of any owner requested change or perhaps legislative change or other unforeseen things that we come across. And there's an overall program contingency. So in total, the bond spending plan has $150 million of that, roughly close to $1 billion is set aside specifically for contingency. And here you see how it's broken down by college campus. The next slide actually shows the contingency of $150 million, and this is what we refer to as a waterfall chart. It starts to show how we're trending numbers against the pool of contingency that we have. So on the far left, you see the $150 million that we have as our contingency reserve, and we maintain what we call a risk register, where we're anticipating by project things that may happen, and we're assigning a probability to them. We trend those against the dollar value, and as of April, we were trending about $87 million of potential exposure for things that may or may not happen. Each of these has a different level of probability against them. This does not mean these things are going to happen, but it shows how we're proactively planning for the worst case scenario. In this case, $87 million of impacts on our budgets, which still leaves us a contingency on the far right there of, I think that says 63 million. It's kind of small on my screen, but there's still a contingency balance there. But keep in mind also, we've done in reserve the phase 2 projects, which is another $400 million of the capital program to also address these issues. So we're being overly conservative about how we're planning to make sure we can complete the phase 1 projects. Next slide. I'll just briefly step through each college campus. These are the major capital projects within phase 1. At the College of Alameda, the new auto diesel technologies building, exciting news, it's ready to be bid. It's being put out on the street for bidding, so it'll be under construction in the next 3-4 months or so. Aviation complex is our EDA project. That's in DSA right now for review. We're still doing programming on the aviation complex. It's the balance of that facility. That's a state-funded project. And we have elevator repairs and upgrades ongoing now under construction at the College of Alameda. Next slide. Berkeley City College, it's pretty much all about Berkeley City College West. That project's currently in design. It's in construction documents. You may recall this is our largest design build project that we have underway at the moment. It's right on schedule. We're anticipating to be complete with our drawings and designs in May for a May DSA submittal. So right on track for this progressive design build project. So exciting news for that campus to have this new building on the corner there of Center Street in Milvia. These are some renderings of that facility. Next slide. At Laney College, a number of active projects. There's a number of state-funded projects and what we call these make-ready projects, those that were required to prepare for the state-funded projects. The locker room modernization, that's that Title IX project that's currently in DSA review. Also the central plant cooling tower modernization project. That's a modernization of the existing central plant to maintain the heating and cooling for the campus. And the new Learning Resource Center is also in DSA review, as well as the theater mod. So you see all these projects are in DSA review. They're frankly in the tail end of their DSA review. Some of them are going through back check or have been in back check. So we imminently expect to complete and receive DSA approvals for these projects. Those that are state funded will then be waiting for the Department of Finance release. The East Bay Mud water relocation main, that's under bidding right now. Actually, bids are coming in on Friday. That's the relocation of the main that runs under the LRC, the Learning Resource Center site. The portable modular village is at the tail end of construction, and we're underway with our Laney leak remediation phase 3 project to address leaks in the slabs on the campus. Next slide. And at Merritt College, the other exciting news, the Child Development Center is ready to be bid. It's also being advertised to go into construction. It has Department of Finance release and approval. We've also got approval from DSA for the new horticulture complex, which holding that right now is the Department of Finance just releasing that project for state funding, in which case then we'll be able to release that to bid as well. And then they have elevator ongoing upgrades and repairs on that site as well. So you can see overall, there's quite a bit of construction that's imminently about to happen. Things are coming out of BSA. We're getting into bidding now for some projects. So we're going to really start to see the needle move. So, if you're out there, get ready for groundbreakings and celebrations as we really start to celebrate kind of our achievements over the last 2 years of planning for these projects and going through designs. Next slide. These are those phase 2 projects, the balance of the $400 million that are sitting out there. It's not that these projects aren't moving, but we are waiting to see what the bidding market looks like for those projects that are moving into construction. So at the College of Alameda, that's the new Science Administration building. Berkeley City College, it's the reconfiguration of the Center Street building. At Laney, it's the Student Center, Culinary Arts modernization, and what we had been calling the STEM building, mainly a science building. At Merritt College, it's some of the future state-funded projects and the demolition of Building A. It's not that these projects aren't advancing, but we're kind of holding a little bit until we get some bids in to see how the market's going to react to our construction documents as we put them out on the street for construction. Next slide. And no presentation to the board is complete without me addressing program challenges. I think it's a theme that I always address. It's not all puppy dogs and roses all the time. There are challenges. It's construction. These are the 4 that I've chosen to address today. So let's go to the first one. It's construction cost hyper-escalation. It's really the reason that we have 2 phases of the bond program, why we have the $150 million of contingency. This escalation that we're seeing kind of related to COVID is really starting to spike the numbers. I think the last time I presented to the board, we were starting to see some fluctuation in the numbers. They were going up and down. You can see kind of at the tail end of last calendar year and the beginning of this year, they're really starting to spike and go up. This is the trailing annual index. We're running about close to 25% escalation, which is pretty significant. The bond program currently had assumed about a 5% escalation, which was pretty much average for a trailing 20-year average as we're looking at it. And so this is really a unique anomaly. But frankly, we won't know what the numbers are going to be until the bid market tells us when they start bidding our projects. But we are still planning for this in case something happens so that we can still complete those projects. But it is something that we're actively tracking. I think as we start to receive some of these bids for these first state-funded projects, we'll get a better sense of really where the escalation number is going to be for our capital program. Next slide. I've also addressed in the past the adequacy of infrastructure. All of the colleges have additional infrastructure needs that were beyond the initial bond spending plan and the allocations that we had made. So we're continuing to look at some of the alignments of those, including some monies allocated for campus-wide refreshes and keyless entry needs across each campuses. We've kind of estimated that to be in the range of $500,000 to $8 million based on which campus it might be on. Some of the mitigations we're looking at is engagement with the colleges and the user groups to look at a realignment of the bond spending plan projects, but also frankly leveraging some of the monies that we have received that were a little bit unexpected. Those that were tied back to COVID times and leveraging state PPIS scheduled maintenance funding. The district received about $7 million of funding in the previous year, and then leveraging federal stimulus funding through HERF and CARES money. So taking some of those infrastructure repairs, funding them with some of these funds so that we can free up some of the bond monies to address some of these additional infrastructure budget needs. Next slide. Another concern is just as we start to move into construction and the volume of, frankly, every document that hits the program increases, looking at the staffing that IVC Smith has in DGS and a staffing shortfall to address kind of the exponential volume that we expect to increase in documents being processed through the district side. So working closely with IVC Smith and the Chancellor to look at a realignment of the Department of General Services with additional support from AECOM and looking at how the CM teams can also be integrated to really optimize how we get ready for this next wave of construction, this big phase that we're about to enter into. Next slide. And this is kind of one of those examples, right? I've kind of addressed process improvement concerns, things that we're continuing to try to work on to improve upon internal process and procedures. One of the things that we're concerned about as we move into construction is the timeline for turning around contract payments. And it's a metric that we've been tracking. We had set a goal of 30 days. You can see here, this is just the actual data. So I'm very transparent about the data, right? We're only hitting that 30-day window 27% of the time. The lion's share of our invoices are being processed in 30 to 60, sometimes over 90 days. Some of those have contract anomalies or other issues in them, but we expect to do better. And so we're working on changing some additional workflow processes. And in fact, some of these alignments with the DGS staffing is to address how quickly we can start to really prioritize invoice processing of all documents, frankly, even things that come to the board to be agendized, so that as we move into construction, we're not impacting contractors by not being able to pay them timely. A very large cost exposure to the district. And with that, I think that was my last slide. Maisha, we'd be happy to, Vincent will be happy to take your questions.
Thank you for that. I believe that I have a few questions for sure, as I always do. But trustees, do we have any other questions? Trustee Withrow, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen, Trustee Jenkins. Okay, Trustee Jenkins. Floor is yours.
Or is mine under Trustee Jenkins, or is it Withrow and then Gonzalez-Yuen, then me?
Oh, I can't see anything. So, could you help me out here? All right, Trustee Jenkins, you're first.
Absolutely, thank you. Thanks for the thorough presentation. For Keith, so you guys have been here probably since 2020, I believe. And so I wanted to know how this relationship and process is going. So I imagine that you guys had goals set out for your first year. And so did you meet those goals the first and second year? And then with the projects going forward that you have outlined going forward, are we on track to meet your goals?
You did. I'm okay. Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. I think from a project perspective, there are some projects that are right on track. Others, we've seen some unforeseen issues come up. We've had issues with the state chancellor's office related to the Department of Finance that have held up some of our projects, some of them up to 6 to 7 months to actually move forward. We've also had, frankly, some unforeseen conditions happen on some of our projects. At Laney College, we've had the California Geologic Survey at the tail end of some of our reviews during design, identified a new fault line on the campus. So we're addressing those kinds of unforeseens, and so that's impacted the timelines on some of those projects and their timeliness of moving forward from the initial bond spending plan of what we had issued back when, I think it was within the first 6 months of when we kind of outlined our initial overall plan. I think related to process and procedure, we've seen quite a bit of turnover, right, from the district side of staff, leadership. And so we've tried to keep our eye on the ball. I think we still have some room for improvement related to some of the integration with the finance department. We've made some great strides recently in engaging them to make sure that our information is aligned. That I'm working with the finance team as well to kind of synchronize our systems so that we're reporting information that's synchronized. That's why in this particular deck, we were showing information from their system and our system. It's important that we're fully aligned with that. I know with the Backstrom team, we're also looking at information. We actually meet every other week to make sure that we're coordinating. In fact, the bond sizing presentation was something that we've been talking about quite a bit and coordinating on every other week, basically, to make sure that we're synced up. But overall, I think the exciting news is if you look at some of those historical charts of how the district has issued bonds in the past and the sizes of those, we're talking about probably the largest by a number, I don't know if it's by 3 or 4 times of what the district has ever issued as a bond sale. And I think that's a testament to the management team that's in place and our ability to drive the projects faster and harder than they've ever been driven before. So part of that is certainly the state funding timelines and trying to adhere to them. But I think we're really proud of the fact that we're really about to turn this corner and have this big wave of construction happening so that we can really celebrate kind of the opening of new buildings and really have groundbreaking ceremonies so that we can really advance the program. And that's why this evening was important to talk about some of the things that we're doing to get ready for that bond sale, because we are going to start needing that money very soon.
Okay. How is it going with our existing buildings that are part of the bond and getting those rehabs? I know there's been a lot of complaints from faculty and students about our aging infrastructure. So are those projects coming up, or what's being done about that?
Yeah, and I could have IVC Smith address it as well, because I think it's both a capital outlay issue, which is kind of my responsibility for the bond program, as well as an operational maintenance issue. And I think you've seen from my end, looking at to the extent possible where the bond can support total repairs or replacements of those systems, we're driving those projects. On the maintenance side, I'll let IVC Smith address that, but I know there's been staff changeover and issues related to their ability to have resources to address some of those ongoing needs. I don't know if Theory, if you wanted to address anything further about the maintenance and operations side. I know you've also brought on some resources to help in that regard.
Sure, we're trying to get more help. We have actually HPLE assisting us with trying to get our arms around some of the infrastructure needs, and also some of the M&O. We have a couple of new staff members, and we're looking to try to staff up. But there are challenges to our existing infrastructure and buildings that we are working very closely with our bond team so that we can address them.
Okay, thank you. And then just one more comment so I can let my colleagues get back. It'd be nice if you guys can come back and talk about how you're improving the process. It seems like there's been some unforeseen issues that have caused delays and goals being met. And so it'd be nice to see if you guys come back and talk about the process and the balance between putting up new buildings and repairing our existing buildings. It'd be nice if we could hear it back from that, Chancellor.
Oh, there isn't anybody else. Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen didn't have a question? Trustee Withrow?
Thank you.
And then I'll have.
First of all, thanks for the presentation. I think we need to recognize that the facilities team is doing this heroic job. Really, when we went out for the bond, we weren't prepared for it. Normally if you go out for a bond that big, you've done a lot more planning, facilities planning. You've got more things in the pipeline ready to go. And so I want to thank the team for working really hard to get us up to speed. I think where we are is where we are, and that's because we started late and then we had some administrative chaos, and that's just, it's like, let's accept that. Here's, I think, the challenge that I like us to be thinking about. We were behind the curve in the planning, and maybe that was actually a good thing, because then we had COVID hit. And we also had a major escalation of the housing crisis. And both of these then presented kind of challenges to the district that I don't think we were ready for, and we haven't figured out how to deal with. I don't know that the post-pandemic world at Peralta is going to be the same as the pre-pandemic world. And I don't know what processes we have right now to do the course corrections. So, we've got the inflation escalators. We're going to have to do some course correction around that, because we're not going to be able to build everything we wanted to build. But now I think we probably really need to seriously rethink facilities entirely in light of the kind of the current realities. And so I guess this is a question both for the facilities team, but maybe most particularly VC Smith. You know, and I don't ask you questions directly. I do this through our Vice Chancellor. What are the processes that we have in place to really do the serious, deep thinking that we need to do about our facilities needs in a post-pandemic world? You know, it's this big black box. We don't know what's in it, but I don't think we're prepared to figure out what's in it. So what's your best thinking on that? How are we going to spend the next $500 million in a way that makes the best sense for us? Are we prepared to even make that decision? That's what I worry about at a policy level and at a planning level. So, you know, I don't know if that wasn't the kind of presentation, but that's the question that I've got for staff.
Good question, Trustee Ewing. And I would say it's a good time that we are at a pause right now, that we're in between phase 1 and phase 2 in our construction and in our goals. And while we are in this pause, we go around to each of the facility committee meetings and do presentations. But at this time, we're also looking at where we are in our spending. And when we go back to the facilities committee meetings, we are also looking to do I don't want to say a re-up of our facilities master plan, because you're right. The world of education has changed, and we have to address Zoom, flexible spaces, things that are going to be needed in our new buildings, but also how are we going to adapt our old buildings to meet the needs of going forward. So yes, we're looking at new master planning for the second phase, and then also working with the colleges to make sure that we got it right, that we know what we're doing on the second phase of construction.
So the thing that comes to mind, VC Smith, is that we make decisions, we make promises, and then conditions change. I don't know that we have the capacity right now within our shared governance functions, within the facilities functions, to figure out politically, okay, so that money is no longer there. We made this promise. You've been waiting for that building or that facility, that program, and now we need to rethink it. And so how do we jockey around and do that in a way where we don't feel like we're beating each other up or bruising each other, and we're really trying to be respectful and thoughtful in that? And I think that's probably kind of our biggest challenge at Peralta always. We trip over ourselves as we try to figure it out because our processes aren't that good. And so I wish you luck on that. And I really, really mean that. I have just, the utmost respect that you stepped into this big role and have been juggling 1,000 things. Without really the staff and the capacity. I don't know how you're doing it, frankly. So thank you and good luck. I look forward to the next round, and hopefully we come back with smiles and not bruises.
Well, I just do want to respond a little bit to that. It's part of, and also Keith, if you wanted to join in, it's also part of that replanning. It's going back to the colleges and making sure that we got the programs right, because their programs may have changed. So our program, our designs follow whatever their educational plans are. So we have to adapt. Educational plans are rewritten. Master plans are rewritten all the time, every 3 to 4 years, sometimes 5 years. And you just have to keep up with what the changes are in your environment. And that's what we'll be doing in the second phase.
Thank you very much.
And if I may add, I can't raise my hand being in the big room, so I'll do it like this. Trustee, I think it's important to note that we're also engaging in educational master planning this year. And that will really help us We're going to be doing external scans as well as talking with our internal groups. And that planning will help inform post-pandemic how we move forward. You know, the fact is that our environment changes faster than our buildings do. And that is just constant change. So we do the best with the information we have. We do the best being good public stewards of the trust. And we hope that planning, that we can be nimble and pivot as our learning spaces change. Thank you.
I think all we have to do is look at the state of the boardroom and the difficulty in just trying to do a quasi high flex room in a way that doesn't work very well. And this is like the most teched out room in the district. And that pivot, that's a challenging one. Anyway, thank you, President Reese.
Better? Can you hear me? Yes, thank you for the presentation. I do have a few questions, but maybe I'll just shorten it to 1.5. So Keith, what I'm hearing, and I could be wrong here, so I'm hearing that there are unexpected costs, right? Unexpected costs in terms of the escalation of spike due to COVID. So that's about a 10% increase. Then you have infrastructure, unexpectedly more expensive from 500K to 8 million. And then the total program cost, when you had that graph with your total program cost, there's a delta between the budgeted and the estimated completion that looked like it was about 90 million. And then your mitigation, which you have on one of the other slides, is a realignment of phase 2 and potentially leveraging her funds. So what does that mean in terms of, first, am I accurate in what I'm hearing and seeing on the slides, where our costs and what we budgeted may be less than what we're going to have? And then the second question being your mitigation in terms of the realignment of phase 2 and or leveraging her funds. Just don't know what that means.
Yeah, I think the important thing to note, President Reese, is that the overrun that you're seeing in that report is actually contingency that's built into the budgets.
Okay.
So it's not a straight overrun, right? It's actually built into the budgets. We show it separately just so we can track it, so we can be transparent about that number and look at what that impact may or may not be when we actually realize it. When we make adjustments to budgets is when it becomes real, when we actually see what the bids come in, if they do come in some percentage higher than what we anticipated or what we budgeted, right? That's when we'll actually start drawing those numbers down. But we track it as this variance so that we can just have eyes on it, because I think it's an important number to make sure we're always looking at. And my message to the board tonight was that it's something that I'm always looking at. It's a dynamic number. We work closely with our management teams to constantly evolve and trend that number, because that's the most important number to me, right? I've spoken in the past about the need to make sure we have cost certainty, that we can execute work and finish projects and not start something before we finish the other project. And so I hope by the format of that report that it didn't throw you off, that shows that, oh my God, we have a $90 million overage. Now those are actually built into the number, but we pull that out so you can just see that as a separate number on our report.
Yeah, certainly. You made me have a little bit of a heart attack. So thank you for explaining that. But it's what I would say is, as you continue to come back and give us these updates, I think it's really important for us to know kind of where we are, because that is going to be worrisome if down the line it continues, that delta continues to go beyond the contingency, right? And then I guess the other question I have, you have your phase 1, you have your phase 2, your estimation for phase 1 and your estimation for phase 2. And I looked at the AECOM presentations from others past, and I couldn't find the duration of time. And really the question there is, what you planned for the first issuance, did we accomplish it?
For the first issuance of Measure G?
Yep. Of Measure G, right.
It's a difficult question only because we had legacy money from A and then we sold 65 from A as well, right?
Yep.
I would say from a spending perspective that we're about where we thought we would be, and the need to sell bonds at this point in time, we were anticipating that this would be roughly about the time that we would need to do it. In fact, we thought we'd need to do it a little earlier, frankly.
Right.
I think the impacts to the schedules are significant because it impacts us in two ways. It delays the facility opening for the students and faculty of Peralta, but also things start to cost more, right? The further things get pushed out, they just start to cost more because of escalation. But in many cases, those impacts that we're seeing are tied to administrative procedures for the state funding, where we've seen these impacts of 6 to 7 months to actually get these releases from the state, actually move on to the next phase of a state-funded project. In other cases, there are unforeseens that we've caught during design or in DSA, where we found these unforeseen conditions and things that we frankly could not have anticipated at the time. And so we've looked at that as a lesson learned of how can we mitigate that moving forward, right? Because I've always talked about in previous presentations, when we see something that didn't happen right, how can we mitigate that moving forward? And so we're trying to do that, but some of these things we're just totally unable to even anticipate. They weren't even on the radar of potentially happening, right? To find some geologic issues underneath the Laney campus site that were never found in any of the buildings that were permitted before, right? So kind of an evolution of an unforeseen, but that's why we have contingency built into the bond program, so we can cover those things that we really can't anticipate.
Yes, so at your next presentation, if you could just give us a sense of, again, where we are in terms of where we need to be and where we are and how much it's costing us and what's the delta, and then durations for phase 1 and phase 2. We'll be looking very forward to that.
Okay.
Thank you for the update.
If I could make a quick comment here, I think a number of the questions require the context of in 2018, when the district chose to put an $800 million bond measure on the ballot, there was never a thought that $800 million was all that these facilities need over the long period of time. And we're building a financial program so that the district will be able to invest funds in its facilities at about this pace, at 100, 120 million or more on an ongoing and consistent basis, not just for the next 8 to 10 years, but for the next 20 years and the next 30 years. So some of this cost escalation will be covered by setting priorities and choosing one project or the other. And some of the cost escalation will be dealt with by pushing projects to the next bond measure and beyond.
Also, President Reese, I'd like to add to the question that you asked when you wanted to know how are we utilizing the HERF funds and how is that offsetting some of our bond. Those HERF funds, we originally were going to go into our HVAC systems, ventilation systems, and redo that out of our bond funds. We are now able to utilize the HERF funds for that. So that is going to offset some of our bond funds, and we'll be able to return some of those bond funds back into other projects.
So the use of HERF funds are actually kind of minor in comparison, because
no, those are big costs that we'll be able to return back to the bond and use those for other things because we have the HERF funds to address our HVAC and ventilation systems.
Good to know. Thank you for following up. Okay. Any more questions, Royal, since I have no access to hands? Okay. Thank you all. Oh, I'm sorry, Trustee.
Okay. Good presentation.
Okay.
Just give me a thumbs up.
All right, let us move on to the next presentation. And the next presentation is 4.3. Presentation of the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 39. This is Interim Vice Chancellor McKinley.
Yes, good evening, President Reese, trustees, Deputy Chancellor Droker, colleagues, and guests. This will be very quick. So pursuant to the requirements of California Government Code Section 3547, the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 39, is presenting its initial proposals for negotiations with the district. And also pursuant to that same section 3547 of the California Government Code, in the May 10th meeting, there will be a public hearing to allow the public to opine on these particular proposals. And those proposals are Article 1, recognition, Article 9, leaves, Article 10, filling of vacancies, Article 13, minimum callback, Article 15, position audit / classification studies, Article 23, retirement, Article 24, health and welfare benefits, Article 26, pay and allowances, and Appendix 5, which is Local 39 District Tentative Agreement. Local 39 also reserves the right to amend, modify, or change, or add or subtract any of its listed articles, and that is also pursuant to the government code. And that concludes the presentation, President Reese.
Thank you, Dr. McKinley. Okay, let's move on to the consent calendar if there are no questions from my trustees. No. Okay. Let's go on to the consent calendar. May I have a motion?
Move approval of the consent calendar.
Thank you, Trustee Withrow. Can I have a second for that motion? Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Roll call, please.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Student Trustee Cooper, Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy,
Sorry, I couldn't get the screen. Yes.
thank you, ma'am. Trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
Trustee Bonilla, absent. Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
Trustee Napoleon Bellarice.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you. Let's move on to action items. 10.1, consider readoption of resolution number 21/22-51 for District Brown Act covered legislative bodies to continue conducting meetings via teleconference per CC Government Code 54953. Interim.
Madam President, I would move that we approve 10.1 through 10.6.
I'll second that.
Second discussion. All right, roll call.
Student Trustee Hogan,
Yes.
Trustee Withrow,
Yes.
Trustee Jenkins,
Yes.
Trustee Handy,
Wait a minute. Yes.
Trustee Delphine Polk,
Yes.
Trustee Gonzalez Ewan,
Yes.
Trustee Napoleon Bellarice.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. So we are done with the action items. Let's move on to Board of Trustee reports, 11.1. Trustee Withrow, since you're right here to my left.
I'd just like to mention that, and this hopefully is not out of character for a public agency, but we have an election coming up on the 7th of June. And one of the election is the district attorney for Alameda County. And I met with one of the individuals who started off as a plumber and injured his back. So he went to Laney College to get a more of an administrative type of position. Did very well there, was accepted at UC Berkeley, graduated from there, went on to law school, graduated from there, is now as a candidate for the district attorney. So I like hearing things like that.
That's pretty awesome. That's great.
That's all I have. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Trustees? Well, I have no idea. Oh, I guess I could just call on them. Yes, Trustee Gonzalez Ewan.
Thank you. You know, we have an extraordinary statewide student senate, SSCCC, and it has, over the last several years, evolved into an effective and powerful organization to advocate on behalf of students and the community college system as a whole. I think we can be really proud that the incoming president of the SSCCC is our student, Clément Tervalon, from the College of Alameda.
Yes.
Clément. He's always told me it was Clément, but we can work that one out. Thank you, Trustee Handy. In any case, I think this is a really important opportunity for us as a district to align ourselves with students statewide in advocating for the system as a whole. We have a powerful voice in Clément, and let's make sure that we mentor him well and that we listen to him well. So super exciting. Congratulations to the folks at the College of Alameda for raising up such an effective advocate for our students. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Gonzalez-Yuen. Let's go to Trustee Jenkins.
Thank you, Madam President. I want to wish a happy birthday to the Dean of this body, Trustee Linda Handy. Her birthday was yesterday, I believe. Thank you for all that you do for the district. Thank you for what you bring to this body. I really appreciate you being a mentor to both me and Deanna, and I'll speak for Trustee Delphine Polk. We can always call on you and rely on you. So thank you so much and happy birthday. So I also want to highlight Black Student Success Week, which is this week, April 25th through the 29th. I look forward to joining on-campus opportunities to highlight this week. And that's it for me, President Reese.
Thank you, Trustee Jenkins. Trustee Delphine Polk.
Yes, happy birthday, Linda. I have a quick update. I understand that there have been invites sent out for the, I believe, second annual Latinx student graduation. I'm really excited to be speaking at that, hopefully along with our chancellor and other community leaders. I'm really excited to be a part of this. Representation, especially for the Latinx community, is something that is just beyond what I stand for as an elected official and as a Latina, and one of very few in our areas. And so I just wanted to kind of lift that up for folks. And I know you're going to be probably hearing a little bit more about that as we approach graduation season. So just wanted to highlight that. And then I have announcements after that, but I'll wait until everyone else is done.
Thank you. Trustee Handy.
Thanks. I don't have any announcements, but I do want to thank you all for your birthday greetings. It is incredible when I start hearing from the students on social media and stuff, and I love them all. So we have so many students that are back in the area that have graduated from my college, and they're living their dreams. And that is so exciting for me. And Clément is one of the students who was part of the Congressional Black Caucus delegation. And he's also a veteran. And he has been so committed to the students and to student government. So I was very pleased when they sent me, they call me Mama Handy, but when they sent me a notice telling me what they're going to do. It's, anyway, I'm just grateful for all of the students and their progress, and also for all of the relationships that I've made here at the district. Thank you.
Thank you. Happy birthday, Trustee Handy. And I believe that is it. Just want to take a moment to think about the student that passed at the beginning of the week, the Berkeley High School student. And I just, I can't even imagine what it was like for you and your staff and the students. And it also speaks to the fragility of many young people, actually so many people today. And so I just want to keep that person, that student, and actually there have been a few other students the week before and the week before that, that have also passed in the same way. And I just want to keep them in our thoughts as well as their families. And I also want to thank you and your staff and really the whole district for coming, for being so responsive to the needs of our students and the needs of our community. Because as soon as it happened, we were getting the emails and we also got the responses and what you were doing right away. So thank you for that. And really back to what you're saying, there are so many people that really need that healing circle because there are so many people in pain and so many people in need of the healing. So just wanted to keep that person and all those that are really going through pain right now in our thoughts every day. Let's go to announcements, please. Vice President Deanna.
Yes, so we have a lot of announcements tonight, y'all. Number one, enrollment is now open for summer and fall 2022 classes. Please visit peralta.edu to apply or enroll. Number two, Black Student Success Week is this week, April 25th to 29th at the Peralta Colleges. Daily events are taking place, so visit the website for more information. Number three, the Peralta Community College District is a leader in promoting online equity in education. Please join us for the Peralta Online Equity Conference, April 27th through 29th. The conference is online and will be attended by educators, not just in California, but across the country and beyond. It's free and all are welcome. For more information, visit the website. Number four, all Peralta Latinx graduation students are invited to a pre-graduation event, Raíces Plática con Dr. Cesar Cruz, taking place at BCC and via Zoom on Thursday, April 28th at 12:20 p.m. Visit the website for more information. Number five, as Dr. Garcia already mentioned, please join State Senator Nancy Skinner, Berkeley Mayor Jesse Arreguin, and Berkeley City College President Dr. Garcia for a conversation about equitable education on Friday, April 29th at 3 p.m. This event is sponsored by the Peralta Colleges Foundation, and you can visit the foundation website, peraltafoundation.org, to RSVP. I will also be there. On Saturday, April 30th, the Build Peralta Bond team will be participating in the downtown Berkeley Farmers Market from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. to answer questions about the Berkeley City College Milvia Street building project, and working with the Peralta Colleges. Number seven, we're almost done. Number seven, save the date. The tenure and emeritus reception will be held on May 24th before the Board of Trustees meeting. The reception will be in person at the district headquarters. It's going to be outdoors in the parking area and refreshments will be served. We look forward to seeing you all in person for the celebration on May 24th. And lastly, the next meeting of the Board of Trustees will be held on Tuesday, May 10th. That is all the announcements.
Thank you. And with that, good night to everyone. Be well, be safe, and we will see you on May 10th. That's right. Good night, everyone. Take care.
Good night.